welcome back to the deep dive. If you're a founder, a leader, or just someone who feels like they're chained to their laptop because only you can do it right, then this conversation is absolutely for you.
It really is.
We are diving into one of the most stressful yet completely essential paradoxes of growth. And that is escaping the trap of being the irreplaceable leader by actually focusing on becoming intentionally replaceable.
That word replaceable, it causes so much cognitive dissonance for ambitious people, right? I mean, so many of us tie our identity to being the one expert in the room.
Of course.
But we have to redefine it. Becoming the replaceable founder, it's not about losing your job. It's about strategically building these knowledge transfer systems that give you the ultimate freedom.
The freedom to do what? Exactly.
They focus 100% on the what and the why, the true leadership work, instead of being just completely constrained by the relentless how.
And the sources we looked at are so clear on the stakes here. If everything you know, every critical decision, every unique process, if it only lives inside your head, you're not just a bottleneck.
No, you're a liability. You're the single greatest liability to the growth potential of your company. I mean, think about it. If you get sick, if you dared to take a vacation,
the entire operation just grinds to a halt.
Absolutely. If your business thrives or dies based on a single point of failure, well, that failure is built right into the system design.
So what's the antidote?
It's a methodology called OAO. Optimize, automate, and outsource. And the real key to making that massive transition possible is a kind of brutal self-diagnostic tool we call the ultimate KPI.
Okay, let's unpack that. I think we have to start with the core mindset shift. Because for every founder, the instinct when a problem comes up is just to jump in and do it yourself, right? The how.
Oh, always. Because honestly, you probably can do it faster and better in that one moment.
But that's the trap.
That's the trap. The fundamental shift is stopping the search for the fastest how, and instead just religiously searching for the most capable who.
I love the analogy the sources used here.
The domino one.
Yeah. The founder must realize they are the first domino, not the only domino. You start the chain reaction, but you shouldn't be the only piece required to get it done.
That's the whole difference between being a specialist and, a true generalist leader.
So how do we track this huge shift away from being the only domino? That brings us to the ultimate KPI. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, great, another KPI, another dashboard to track.
Right, another spreadsheet. But this is purely behavioral. It's designed to make sure you offload 80% of the non-essential manual tasks you're currently doing.
80%, that sounds huge.
It's radical, but it's manageable. It's the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. The goal is to eliminate or offload 4 tasks per quarter.
Okay, 4 a quarter, so 16 tasks per year.
16 specific measurable tasks per year. Now that might sound minimal, but just imagine having 16 fewer recurring responsibilities on your plate 365 days from now.
That's the definition of freedom.
It is. But it requires some serious self-awareness.
Self-awareness about what kind of work we're actually doing day to day. And to help with that, the sources introduced these 4 mindsets arranged in a triangle.
Yeah, this details the shift from, manual labor all the way up to pure strategic leadership. We start at the bottom with the cog.
A cog.
It's exactly what it sounds like. Repetitive, prescriptive, manual, often pretty dull work. It's essential for the machine to run, but if the founder is spending any serious time here, like filling out spreadsheets or scheduling social media posts by hand...
There's zero leadership happening.
Zero. Then moving up, you have the engine.
Okay.
The engine is the driving force. It's essential. It's hands-on. It requires some flexibility and judgment, but it's still about executing existing processes. It doesn't really propel the mission forward into new territory.
And what's the risk there?
The risk is if the engine holds on too tightly to those systems, they create transparency problems. No one else knows how it works.
Got it. And next is the pivot point, the engineer.
This is where most capable founders get stuck. I mean, really stuck. The engineer is working in the business optimizing processes, building systems, managing projects.
So they have some freedom.
Some, but they are not fully focused on the strategic, external, or, the blue sky challenges. They're still responsible for implementation at the end of the day.
So if you're stuck at the engineer stage, you might be making things more efficient.
But you are not guaranteeing long-term innovation. Which brings us to the ultimate goal, the final stage, the inventor.
Right.
The inventor is free to focus on their unique, genius new ideas, strategy, building the culture, anticipating market shifts, and crucially, in the inventor's absence, the business continues to grow and operate just fine.
Okay, let's ground this with an example. Say your company has a monthly newsletter. How would we see these 4 roles in that one task?
Great example. So if you're the cog, you are literally copying and pasting content into the email platform and hitting send at 3 p.m. every Tuesday. It's pure manual labor.
And the engine.
If you're the engine, you're probably writing the core content, managing the editorial calendar, maybe responding to subscriber replies. You're hands-on, driving the production.
Right, and the engineer is the one who built the system.
Exactly. The engineer designed the automation sequence that drafts the email, created the templates, installed the analytics tracking, and documented the process for the engine to follow. They work in the system.
But the inventor.
The inventor is the one who decided that the newsletter is essential for customer lifetime value in the first place. They set the goals for engagement, and now they're exploring whether the company needs a whole new media channel next quarter. They are not touching the content or the send button.
That distinction is so key, and it allows that OAO process to actually begin. So, step 1, optimize. Perfecting the process. Why do we have to optimize first? I mean, isn't that just slowing us down before we can automate or delegate?
It feels slow, I know, but it's so essential. You cannot expect to take some messy, undocumented process, throw a piece of software at it, give it to a new person, and just hope it magically becomes effective.
There's a great quote about this.
The more we sweat in training, the less we will bleed in war. You need efficiency and documentation before you can even think about scaling.
So optimization is really about breaking down every single step and then memorializing it, making the system resilient.
Resilient to human error.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the most powerful concept here comes from Japanese manufacturing. It's called poka-yoke. Fail-safe mechanism. It's about inserting a deliberate step into the process that makes failure literally impossible.
This circles back to that podcast production example. So if the audio editors keep failing to name files correctly, the normal reaction is to what? Send a stern email.
Right, or create a stricter rule. But poka-yoke says you change the system, not the person. You insert an electronic form, like a WUFU or a junk form, that requires the file to be renamed correctly before it can even be submitted.
So it adds a step.
It adds maybe 30 seconds to their task, but it prevents 100% of those renaming errors, which makes the entire system faster and fail-safe. You deliberately slow down one action to guarantee the integrity of the whole process.
It is a complete rethinking of what efficiency even means. Okay, so when documenting these optimized processes, the sources give us 3 really tactical tips. First, use screencasts.
Yes, tools like Loom or even iCloud for anything computer-based. And here's the key. Don't try to be perfect on the first run. The best screencasts actually show your mistakes and how you troubleshoot them.
It makes it more real for the person learning.
It creates empathy, yeah. Second, you have to use absolute terms, not relative ones.
Meaning, don't just say, open the payroll document.
Yeah, right. That's relative. Where are they? Instead, you say, go to the payroll documents link provided right here, and you insert the specific URL. It removes all ambiguity.
And the third tip?
Refer to roles, not people. Always send the final contract to the HR director. Never send it to Sarah.
Because the day Sarah is on vacation
or leaves the company, the whole process breaks down. Your documentation has to be durable.
Okay, let's pivot to optimizing ourselves. We've fixed the company process. Now we need to fix the founder's biggest internal bottlenecks, email and the endless parade of new ideas.
Email is the greatest villain, not because the tech is bad, but because we let our inbox become this open-ended to-do list that other people get to fill for us. The real issue is our own inability to make quick, decisive decisions.
So the path to inbox zero is this mantra: always be done. Do, delete, defer.
Exactly. Do is for any task that takes less than 5 minutes, and that should include immediate delegation. Delete is the most critical. You have to learn to say no.
And stop replying thanks. Got it.
Yes. That's the boomerang effect. It just generates more email. Archive anything older than 2 weeks. If it was truly important, they'll follow up.
And then defer. This is about strategic scheduling.
Right. You're taking ownership back from the inbox. Instead of reacting, you schedule the task for when you are ready or at your most effective. You can snooze an email until a certain time, or even until you arrive at a specific location, like an airport.
And that decision-making mindset protects us from the other great threat: shiny object syndrome.
Oh, absolutely. As entrepreneurs, we're idea generators. But trying to hold those new ideas in your working memory while you're focused on something else, it creates this incredible cognitive exhaustion.
That's the Zeigarnik effect, right? Your brain remembers incomplete tasks more than completed ones.
Precisely. Every new idea feels like an open loop demanding your attention. It leads to decision fatigue. The solution is what the sources call an external brain.
Meaning you have to separate having the idea from processing the idea.
Yes. You must become a conduit for information, not a repository. Use a tool like IFTTT, if this, then that, to instantly capture ideas. A voice memo, a screenshot, forwarding an email. Just get it out of your head and into a digital holding pen.
So you don't engage with it at all in the moment.
Not at all. You just capture it externally. Then you schedule time later, maybe 30 minutes at 8 p.m., to systematically review those ideas. It eliminates that cognitive stress of trying to hold on to it.
Which brings us to strategic communication. This is the link between optimizing ourselves and scaling our team. So OAO steps 2 and 3, automate and outsource.
Right, and when you're dealing with the team, the mantra has to be, urgency suggests poor planning. Truly urgent issues, the business-ending kind, should never come through an email or a Slack message.
We need to encourage asynchronous communication.
Absolutely. Using tools like Voxer or even just structured Slack channels provides that crucial pause. It forces the team member to develop a plan, rather than just pinging the founder to react instantly to some half-formed thought.
And that pause helps us protect our most valuable resource.
Our peak time.
Tell us about that.
Peak time is that narrow window, usually about 90 minutes, where you are neurologically 2 to 100 times more effective than any other point in the day.
And you can find this time.
Yeah, the sources suggest using a basic tap test app to help identify it by monitoring your nervous system response. Once you know that 90-minute window, you block it off religiously. For inventor work only. No emails, no meetings, nothing.
Okay, now for delegation. The ultimate goal. We can't just throw tasks over the fence.
No, you have to build a framework of trust. The 6 levels of delegation are crucial here.
Let's focus on the key transitions.
So level 1 is simple. Do as I say. Basic instructions. But level 3 is where it starts to get interesting. Give me your advice and I'll decide. You're inviting critical thinking.
But you still hold the veto.
You hold the veto. Then you jump to level 5, which is explore and decide within these limits.
What's the massive difference there? It sounds subtle.
It's all about accountability. At level 3, the team member still expects you, the founder, to take responsibility for the final decision. At level 5, they know their boundaries and they are empowered to move forward without you as long as they stay within those limits. They know when not to contact you.
Which is huge. And the final goal, level 6 delegation.
Level 6 is just take care of it. You only hear about it when it's done. But here's the critical warning. It brings us right back to step 1, optimization.
You have to optimize the oversight process first.
You have to. Remember that story about the founder who outsourced New York parking tickets?
Oh, the disastrous one, yes.
The VA company kept submitting the exact same incorrect invoice for approval. And the founder kept signing off because his oversight system was flawed. He delegated the task, but he failed to optimize the accountability mechanism.
A huge warning. So if we've designed our system, we've documented it, now we get to section 5. Finding the who.
Hiring the team. And we're not just looking for people who can do cog work. We're looking for inherent skill sets.
3 specific ones.
3 non-obsolete skills that are so hard to train. First, proactivity, that instinct to follow up. Second, attention to detail, catching mistakes. And third, curiosity. Just a real thirst to learn and ask why.
Which leads to this very unconventional hiring test philosophy. Don't ask candidates to create something new.
No. Ask them to fix something broken or poorly executed. It's a much better assessment.
How so?
Well, if you ask someone to write a blog post, they give you their best, most polished work. But if you give them a poorly written blog post and ask them to improve it, you see their judgment, their attention to detail, their actual understanding of quality.
Or with a web developer, don't ask them to build a button.
Give them a page where the button is broken and ask them to troubleshoot the fix.
And the real-world application for testing proactivity is that famous hotel mailing task.
It's a fantastic test. So candidates were tasked to find the nearest place to mail 1,000 envelopes for a client staying at a big hotel. The average candidate found a post office 3 miles away.
Which is fine. It answers the question.
It's fine. But the best candidates showed proactivity. They called the hotel concierge, they confirmed there was a FedEx office on site, and then they checked if the hotel would just collect the envelopes from the client's room.
Wow.
They didn't just solve the task, they optimized the entire client experience.
That sets an incredibly high bar. So finally, you get to the final interview. You need to ask that one hardball question.
You have to. It tests self-awareness. In the final 4 questions, you must ask, if we don't hire you, why do you think that will be?
Oof.
It forces self-reflection. It gives them a chance to speak to their own perceived weaknesses before you even bring them up. Their honesty is way more valuable than some canned answer about their strengths.
This has been a complete journey through the OAO framework. So to wrap up, let's revisit that essential paradox that started this whole thing.
The paradox is that by consciously becoming replaceable, by intentionally removing yourself from the how and delegating those systems, you get the ultimate freedom to focus on your unique genius, your inventor work.
You have to detach your ego from the daily process.
Completely. The story of Justin Kavanaugh, the Sultan of Speed, just drives this home. His whole life was about moving fast, but his business was collapsing because he was so attached to the execution.
He had to deliberately slow down.
He had to slow down, to optimize, to build systems he could trust, and ultimately be, religious about the results, but completely agnostic to the process.
Knowledge transfer and transparency removes that single point of failure.
Exactly. When you remove your ego from the process, someone quits or a customer rejects an idea, you don't shut down. You just see it as a system flaw that needs engineering or a new problem that needs inventing.
And that detachment brings us to our final thought.
Yeah, it's a quote from Robert Heinlein that really sums up the goal of this whole journey. A human being should be able to change a diaper, plan an invasion, butcher a hog. Specialization is for insects.
Wow.
The goal isn't to be an expert cog. The goal is to return to being adaptable and self-sufficient, not by doing every task yourself, but by being the leader who can orchestrate every single outcome without being attached to the process itself.
That is a profound perspective shift. We'd encourage you to open up your calendar right now. Identify the tasks where you are the cog or the engine, and figure out which 4 you're going to eliminate this quarter using the ultimate KPI. Thank you for going on this deep dive with us.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll catch you next time.